us on another business series brought to you by UBA Ghana Limited. At UBA, we say your small business is big business, and we are happy to partner with you to help you grow your business. This morning, we're here to talk to you about thriving through sustainable business. Thriving through sustainable business. And we've got a resource person who is prepared to go through with us. He was the president of the Association of Ghana Industries and therefore knows all about business and industry in Ghana, the challenges that you possibly will go through. He was the 19th president between 2014 and 2017. He is the founder and chief executive officer of Aztec Group Limited. He's into kitchenware and roofing products manufacturing factory, as well as real estate company, and is located in Tema. He's an astute industrialist. He has a Doctor of Business Administration and a Master of Applied Business Research degrees from the SBS Swiss Business School in Switzerland, an MBA from Birmingham City University in UK, and a postgraduate diploma in marketing from the CIM UK, with a BSc Engineering from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi. He served on the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council UK and a member of the advisory board of the Ministry of Education. He's a member of the Commission of Technical and Vocational Education and Training, TVET in Ghana, and a former member of the advisory board of the Ministry of Energy. The Ghana Infrastructure and Investment Fund gave Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research (ISE) at the University of Ghana, Legon. He has represented the industry on the National Economic Forum Implementation Group that took place at Senchi and was a board chairman of the Hope Christian Village, which is an orphanage. He's a long-standing academic and experienced lecturer in international marketing and strategic marketing management at the Chartered Institute of Marketing, Ghana. Our resource person today has a long-standing academic relationship and experience with research interest in productivity and performance of manufacturing SMEs. He lectured in international marketing and strategic marketing management at GIMPA. He worked as manpower development manager with several years of experience in capacity building, human resource management, and general management. You'll agree with me that we couldn't have had a better resource person to talk to us on how to thrive through sustainable business. Our resource person this morning is Dr. James Asari Ejay. Good morning, Doc, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Nee, and thanks for the elaborate introduction.
Look, reading through your profile, I must say that I'm very, very impressed, and I trust that we couldn't have chosen a better person than you this morning to talk to us. In the midst of the economic issues that we face, Ghana has gone to the IMF. We've seen the domestic debt exchange program, the financial sector issues. Yet business have got to thrive. We've seen the introduction of some taxes, review of the e-levy from 1.5 to 1%, etc. So for those of us as SMEs that are going, we need direction, we need help, and we're glad that you agreed to speak to us this morning, Doc.
Thank you once again, Henry. And let me say good morning, colleague business owners and other participants. Let me welcome you to this series of UBA business. In fact, as we've already been introduced to, we are looking at thriving through sustainable business practices. This topic or this area of discussion shouldn't have come at an opportune time, given the challenges that we're going through as a country. But let me say that as an astute or as an entrepreneur, operating a major kitchenware and roofing manufacturing factory, as well as real estate company, as have been outlined earlier on. This topic, I find it very, very important because I started as a micro business about 2 decades ago. and going through from a micro business, a small business in a very small place with just about 3 employees, and over the period growing systematically, having then brought on board a couple of factories. Then it stands to reason that we need at this point in time to look at what are the things that will keep us going, especially in this challenging period. And that is why I think the UBA business series is really looking at how do I thrive? How do I sustain my business practically? What we're going to discuss this morning is really more practical than looking at the theoretical aspect. Of course, we read a lot about small, medium businesses. But when it comes to the practice of it, it becomes a bit challenging. So what I find, or what I want us to do this morning, is look at some key areas. For example, what is the current opportunities that exist in the business terrain or in the economy, even though we say that, yes, we've gone through a lot of issues economically, the domestic debt exchange program, inflation probably until recently was over 50%. Interest rates, you would agree with me that it's really very difficult for small and medium-sized enterprises to really access credit. But then, of course, there are a lot of opportunities also in our environment. And I always say that the best way to really keep your business going at this point in time is to look out for those opportunities. And one of such opportunities is to look at the number of grants that are available for SMEs. Currently, and I'm sure a number of you may have really realized or seen, grants being advertised by the Ghana Skills Development Fund, where you can really get some of these grants to shore up capacity building in your businesses. There are areas also, MasterCard doing a lot. You can also have Ghana Enterprises Agency. So these are all opportunities available for SMEs, such that if it's very difficult for you to be able to attract credit, to build capacity, to strengthen employee efficiency, then that is an area that you can tend to. Of course, when it comes to, credit in itself, definitely you would want to get some credit to facilitate or to support in raw material procurement or in operational activities. What are some of the things that we need to do sustainably in trying to ensure that, yes, I don't overburden myself? But let me quickly mention that whilst we are looking at opportunities which exist at this point in time in our economy, in spite of all the issues we're going through, there are a number of setbacks as well. Now, these setbacks, would range from high interest costs. Of course, if Bank of Ghana is doing about 30% prime rate, definitely the other commercial banks cannot do otherwise. But we still have to identify areas where we can cut costs in our businesses. In some areas in our businesses, sometimes we overlook efficiency, raw material wastage, where you are into direct manufacturing. Raw materials, you see that you have staff or employees who are reworking. So you have a number of times, and there are some operational processes that immediately the raw material or operation starts, you must finish. Now, how does this impact on our operation? If you don't actually have a situation where you have what we call get it right first time, then you will be really incurring a lot of costs. So we want to consider efficient operation, reduction in waste, where you think that you don't need that volume of raw materials. Definitely, you don't buy or pile a stockpile because you lock up your capital. And as you look at that, then we just implement a number of cost-cutting measures. Now, these cost-cutting measures, sometimes if you don't take care, you take them for granted. As little as they may be, they are very important. If I'm having different offices for different staff, can I have a situation where we can put a number of staff who are doing similar things in one office such that we don't have air conditions, we don't have lights on? That will be cost to us. At the moment, the challenge we are having, which in fact, as was mentioned, I was the president of Association of Ghana Industries, and we've done a lot of advocacy work where that is not supposed to happen, but that is the situation in the country where you have business operators or industries paying more than residential power users. So invariably, you have businesses subsidizing residential power users in terms of electricity. If you look at other jurisdictions or economies, it is the reverse. And we've advocated a number of times to have this situation reversed, because as businesses operate and then produce more, they then create, apart from employment, the wealth that, of course, we share with government. But it has not worked. You have jurisdictions where, I mean, for example, I can mention a couple of them, some even in West African sub-region where power cost is 5 cents per kilowatt hour. We are doing probably about 15 cents per kilowatt hour. So if you are a business and then, or you have a business, and then you try to keep such costs down, utilities in particular, of course, is a very key cost-cutting measure. Now, let me quickly also talk about the fact that small and medium-sized enterprises, if you ask them, what is your biggest challenge? They will tell you financing. But to be honest, if you look critically at the key things that you need to address, probably financing will come third or fourth. I've mentioned earlier on about efficient operation, reducing waste, cutting down costs. Now we have SMEs who would actually sell or offer services, and then to collect their debt becomes a problem. So they have a huge stock of debt there, yet we are looking for more money either from the bank or other creditors to run our business. So in times like this, where we are talking about striving through sustainable business practices, we need to ask ourselves, how can we make sure that we are efficient in the collection of our debts so that, you know, we don't finance others to do their businesses, whereas we go borrowing at a very high cost. So we can reduce our financing cost by collecting or being efficient in the collection of our debt, I mean, from our customers. Let me also add that in times like this, this is not the time that you do a lot of capital expenditure, especially where you have to, look at fixed assets. You need to measure, you need to get every penny to actually go through into the operations of the, of your business. So in locking up capital, 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years in terms of fixed assets should be a no-no situation when you want to run sustainable business in this particular time. So I will say that, you know, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we don't have reasons for doing what we're doing. Now, sometimes we believe that we can go beyond what we have, which is in itself a good I call it a drive. But then as you want to expand, you have to be very careful about where you are expanding into, and you are looking at the money you are locking up. So Um, let us reduce capital expenditure. Let us minimize things that we will put money in the long term so that we can turn our monies around, make as much profit as possible. Then, where necessary, you can look at organic growth. To be honest, we have a challenge as SME operators or as business owners in this part of the world. We are not able to differentiate ourselves from our businesses. So you have business owner who always come to the office and ask, how much do you have? Please give me this money. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You have business owners who don't know how much they spend in a month or a period because they don't pay themselves salary. We have business owners who would actually use revenue or sales from the daily activity or from the business in doing other things outside of their business operations. So my advice this morning, especially running your business sustainably in this particular environment now, is that pay yourself salary. How much reasonably do you want to pay yourself? Make sure, yes, you have indeed paid yourself, possibly through your personal account. So you can then be able to put together and say that, well, in a month, I take 10,000 Ghana cedis. And then that 10,000 Ghana cedis, you stick to that. You manage your affairs so that you are an independent entity from your business. Don't mix personal expenditures with business operational expenditures. Let me quickly also touch on the fact that, we are really very nice people as Ghanaians. And for that matter, it becomes very difficult when friends and family members approach us and then they want to buy something or to want to do business with us. It is very difficult for us to say no when they want credit. Now, after we have given the credit, it is really difficult for us to even make sure that we get the money back. But you see, if you are running business and then you look at how much you've put in the business, now you extend credit to family and friends, and you are not able to collect back, it becomes difficult for you to be able to run your business efficiently or get the needed resources to run your business. And there was this joke that somebody had that made, just put a notice in front of his business or of his office, and he says that for credit, come tomorrow, and that tomorrow never comes. So please, let's be firm in dealing with family and friends when we are really trying to ensure that our business grows. I'll touch on a couple of things more, and then we'll look at how are we dealing with customers or stakeholders in general. Because when it comes to customer relationship management is really, really key at this point in time. But let me quickly say that, yes, it is good. Let us find a way of diversifying. So if you are in business at this point in time, you would see that there are certain times that the product range is so narrow, such that normally you look at your sales and you think that you need to expand your product range. But in expanding your product range, let us do related diversification. Now, where you are looking at totally different diversification, it becomes a problem. And then if you don't take care, you have yourself, you spread your resources, especially financial resources, so thinly that it becomes difficult for you to recover. But then I advise that look at your product range, try and see how best you can actually add onto your product range. When you are doing this, have customers in mind or have your market in mind. Let us now be able to know that In fact, all new product development originates from the market. And one opportunity that we can take as business owners, particularly SMEs, is to take advantage of the African Free Trade Continental Area, the AFTA program that we are having, to be able to move outside our comfort zone. Yes, we have Ghanaian market of about 30 million, 31 million people, but you realize that it is not such a big market for you to be able to do what? To ensure that you are growing. So why don't you look at the sub-regional markets? Why don't you then look at continental markets, where you would see that, yes, there's competition, but the competition will be such that because we have less developed economies around us, the competition will not be as keen as we have in our country. So it's very important for us to be able to expand, to look for new markets, taking advantage of AFTA, and then identifying what are the things that we need, to do to be able to get into new markets. Sometimes we become a bit scared, or we think that we don't have what it takes, to go into new markets. But that is what you have to do around this time. In our economy as of now, there are so many areas which look saturated. How do we step out? We have now with AFTA coming, the danger is that we're going to open, or we have even opened our economy, to other businesses in the sub-region, on the continent, to come into our markets. So what are we then doing? I mean, how are we going to be able to compete with companies from Kenya? Companies, for example, from South Africa, if we continue to remain here. Let me also touch on something that we find it difficult, to do as Ghanaian business owners because of the issue of trust. We are interested in being in our corner, having our small businesses. Coming together for partnership is a no-no because we don't trust ourselves. So you have a small business, and then for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, probably more, we remain small. But then I want to say that once you have 2 or 3 companies operating in the same area, coming together, now you can pull synergies and resources together, resources that you as an individual business owner cannot get. We put that together, and then you are able to actually grow the business faster, be able to enter into some markets that hitherto you wouldn't have been able to enter. Let me give you a typical example. When I was the AGI president, I think somewhere in 2017, the IFC, International Finance Corporation, approached me and said that, well, we have seen a renewed confidence in your economy in terms of manufacturing. So we are ready to support the growth. So they came to my company and asked, so how much do you need? Then I mentioned, at the time I said I needed $5 million. Then, IFC, their size. And then they said, well, we are such that we cannot, $5 million is nothing. But if it's $100 million, yes, we can really look at it and process, because the time you're going to use in processing a facility of $5 million will be about the same time or processes, documentation, efforts in processing about $100 million. So can you get about 5 or 6 of other business operators, business owners who are in your industry to really come together so that we can look at a possibility of partnership within these 5 companies and then give about $100 million for you to operate? In fact, I picked a phone, I spoke to my colleagues who I know are business owners. I wouldn't mention them for the sake of this discussion, that please, can we look at coming together, 5, 6 companies coming together, approach IFC, who have come to my office and that they are interested in supporting us. I can tell you none of my colleagues were interested in really we coming together because everybody wants to be CEO of his or her company. And that is one key challenge that is really not making SMEs grow in this part of our world. So what I'm trying to say is that partnership is very important. It helps us to really pull resources together. We share knowledge. Sometimes even when it comes to certain facilities, once you are together, it will help you to attract these facilities. Some even can be non-interest credit facilities because these people or equity financing, which individual owners are, or maybe partners will be able to bring on board. I believe that at this point in time, one will ask, what about making sure that we can develop strategies of effective networking as a business? What are our strategies in making sure that we build strong connections with our customers, with our suppliers? I've mentioned partners already, and then stakeholders in general. Now, if you don't have that strong partnership arrangement, or if you don't have that strong customer relationship arrangement, it becomes very difficult. Well, there are cases where in this period that we are discussing, thriving through sustainable business practices, if you have a very effective customer relationship, or let's say supplier relationship, you may even be able to attract free credit because customers will bring their money to you that, well, I'm making an order, I'm paying upfront. Now that money then becomes, a capital for you to be able to buy raw materials. You can have a situation where you can get what we call supplier's credit. Credit facility that is not requiring maybe interest or collateral. Of course, we are mindful of the fact that the banks also must be able to make money. So of course, we cannot say that we want to get interest-free credit alone. But it's very important that at this point in time, you explore all these opportunities where you can get access to maybe very low credit interest facility, or even free credit, or in some cases, you are looking at credit that will be medium to long term. And one other thing that I want to touch on is the fact that many of our SMEs, and I'm sure my listeners and viewers or those who are part with us will agree with me, that in most cases, micro, small, medium enterprises, we sell our products or our services and we keep our monies in the safe. So once we come, we just take the money, we buy the raw materials. So it's more like, let me say, a very informal approach of doing business. But this is the time that any amount you have, it doesn't matter how small the amount is, please operate your bank accounts, pay your money into your accounts. And in this case, I want to commend UBA. So open an account with UBA. I'm sure many of us who are on this program are already with UBA. But have an account, because as you pay, as you operate your accounts, now what happens here is that the bank will look at your turnover, or you look at how you are turning the money around, and then based on that, you can be supported. If we have our monies in our bedrooms, we have our monies in our safe or in our offices, then definitely we are not looking at sustainably trying to grow our businesses. So let us take particular note of this issue, because I know that as SME operators, many of us do that a lot. Then communicating to your staff. How do you get your staff to share your vision? How do you get your staff to develop that capacity so that once they are working I won't say working for you, but I will say working with you. Now they will be able to have that ownership sort of posture or attitude. So once they are looking at what they are doing, then they will say that they see themselves in that. And I think I've mentioned earlier on about some grant facilities that exist. Ghana Skills Development Fund, which quite recently they advertised, for businesses to apply. Once you have all your documentations right, you have registered the business, you have all the regulatory authorities approval in terms of certification and so on and so forth. You can put in. Some of the businesses can get as much as 1 million Ghana cedis grant. You don't pay back. And then you can use these facilities, this money to train your staff in various areas, build their capacity, and ensure that now they are being given the needed sort of expertise, for them to work and then ensure that they can also give back in terms of their output. And I think it's really, really very important. And as we really more or less look at this, we can discuss further and then try to see what other opportunities that we can also take. Let me add a couple of things, and then probably if my time is up, then we can open our discussion in terms of other questions and answers or contributions. Let us try as much as possible to be very honest with our dealings with our customers or our stakeholders. Now, many a time you realize that entrepreneurs, one major problem we have, and that one is maybe countrywide or continentally, time. The fact that we don't keep to time. So even when you have a shop, and then you say you open your shop at, say, 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., somebody will go and sit there, 10 a.m., you have not opened the shop. The one next by opens it on time, and then, takes your customers. Sometimes too, because we think that we need to make a little more, we decide to cut corners. And how do we cut corners? We don't provide to our customers what we have said, or even where we have given pro forma invoices, or we have even given invoices. We don't stick to the specifications. And integrity is really very important in this period of thriving through sustainable business practices. Because you see, any customer you lose must be a worry to you, because the competition is so keen everywhere, in every business. So we want to keep our customers, uphold our integrity in dealing with them. Now, source products that meet standards. And then also where you think you actually don't have the product, you don't just say, well, sorry, this one I don't have, or that is not part of what I sell. If you can source it elsewhere, please do. And then make sure that you meet the quality standards, and then you supply. These are some of the few things that I want to share with you. If there are some questions, we would be able to try as much as possible to respond to that. But finally, we need to leverage on networks for growth. If I say networks, what do I mean? A lot of businesses want to be standalone. And sometimes we are inundated by our challenges in such a way that we don't even know what is happening elsewhere. Outside us, we don't attend meetings of similar players in the industry. We don't join business associations. We don't even, at a certain point in time, even find out what is happening in our various sectors of operations. So it is very important. It is very important that as a SME operator, as a business owner in this environment at this point in time, thriving through sustainable business practices, you need to leverage on networks so that you can know what is happening outside, what other competitors are doing. How can business associations like Association of Ghana Industries, Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Ghana Employers Association, so on and so forth. These are all business associations. We have an umbrella group, which is what we call the Private Enterprise Federation. Now, these are all business associations that bring business owners together, and then they share with them some of the things that are happening in the economy and beyond. And you see, it will interest you to know that you as a business owner yourself, you need capacity building to be able to grow your business. So I think I will recommend that. Finally, I think I've said finally already, but let me say that let us also leverage on technology. We've done the brick and mortar for a very long time. So you see that the business is here. We are only looking at the formal form of advertising. So if we don't have money to really do radio advert or TV advert, then our businesses remain in the dark. But now, if you look at technology, especially the younger ones, the social media, huge following. The fact that some people are using e-commerce in doing exploits, especially in the developed economies, and even here in our country. So as an SME, try and also position yourself in this area, you see, of using the social media to promote yourself, to sell your products, your services, and then make sure that people know what you are doing. As we say, if you do business and you are not advertising or promoting it, you are like somebody who is in the dark winging at somebody. The person knows what he's doing, nobody else does. So I think it's very, so very important. Technology and digital transformation, which we are all trying really as much as possible to really use in promoting our business. Don't let us also forget corporate social responsibility. Let us try and give back to society. Now, as we look at, it doesn't matter how small that will be, but as we do and look at that small things that we can do for our society, our immediate environs, maybe those who are in our stakeholder catchment area, definitely it is also part of selling yourself as a business and then business growth in general. Thank you very much.
Very, very much, Dr. James Asareje, for that wonderful presentation. You touched on a number of areas. I have some questions for you, but I see a lot of questions from the audience. I would acknowledge them quickly. I will take them. Exciting presentation from you. Star Clothing says that I can't link my UBA, I believe, card with my PayPal account. Star Clothing, if you're still on a call, call our call center, 24/7 call center. They'll go to discuss with you and see what the particular issue is. You can reach them toll free on 0800 833 833. If you have a question, meanwhile, drop it in the chat section. We'll bring your questions to Dr. James Asareje. Now, Vivian Edujevi says, thank you for bringing up this program. I hope it's going to help our businesses. We hope so too. So learn a few things and use them to drive your business as we go along. Bruce Jeron Assem says that great work, UBA Ghana. You are an inspiration. Thank you, Bruce Jeron. Theodora says that thank you, UBA, for being proactive. We thank you too. Ali Muhammad says that great move. Another says that great initiative and powerful topic. Well done, UBA. Bruce comes back to say that great work, UBA Ghana, you are an inspiration. Emmanuel Kise says that awesome, keep it up. Jeremiah Assem says that great work, UBA. Belinda gives us thumbs up. Belinda gives thumbs up. Oh, so first question for you, Doc. Richmond Chefrimpon says that please, will treasury bill in Ghana be affected by government policies in the coming days? Do you know whether government policies will affect treasury bills?
Well, Henry, do I answer this question? Because
I mean,
you know, this is government oriented, maybe not too much
okay,
business oriented.
so yeah, so we don't as yet know what policy direction is going about treasury bills, but it's one of the investment options to look at. Now, Scott Caroline says that I don't know if I missed it. How can you help traders or small companies who are termed unbankable? There are a lot, there's a large portion of the nation who does not have bank accounts. Doc, you mentioned that people should open accounts with UBA, but they say that there are some people who are called unbankable. Are there any such group as
Yeah,
unbankable, and what can they do to become bankable?
Henry, you see, I mean, you would agree with me that, I mean, statistics, I mean, indicate that probably less than 30% of the bankable population in uh, the country are outside the banking sector. So there are a lot of, in fact, business operators, uh, whether small or medium, that are not really, I mean, having accounts or operating, especially the micro businesses. And I believe that as a bank, you have a policy or you have a way of ensuring that you reach out, to these businesses or business owners, and then also making it a lot more easier for them to open accounts. You see, some of them they are not banking because they're saying that the bureaucracies. You want to open an account, bring this, bring that, and then for sometimes even they ask of your grandmother's date of birth. I mean, something. I mean, things that makes it so difficult to really be able to open that. So I want to suggest that one, try and reach out. In fact, there had been times that some banks have used mobile banking system in mopping up such unbankable, population or maybe businesses. I mean, and then open accounts or have special account opening mechanism for such group. And then you see the number of people who would, businesses that would really take advantage of that. Additionally, let us more or less not to reduce your, I think you call them, is it K, what do you call it? Key customer what?
KYC, KYC.
Uh, uh, yeah, know your customer, this thing. I mean, let us reduce some of these, processes or documentations such that it will be very accommodating for small businesses, to come and then also open accounts because that is the way to go.
Thank you very much, Doc. So we will look at our systems, but at UBA, would not ask for your grandmother's date of birth. Come to us, speak to our customer advisors, would help you to open an account in branch at any time. So let's go. If you have a question for Dr. Jesus Jade, drop it in the chat. We would put your questions to him, and he will be glad to give you an answer. Um, Isaac Jonathan says that sorry I joined late. Hope I can watch it later. Yes, you can. Please, the feed will be available on our social media pages on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook. You can go back and catch the video. It will still be there. Scott claps to thank Doc for the answer to her question earlier. Ali Muhammad says, I'm loving this. Wonderful presentation is what Vivian Edujenfi says. Robert Sakri, I see you. Thank you for joining us. Now, Kofi appears on this is that this is very useful information as an SME owner. Thank you, and then we hope that you will take advantage of the nuggets shared in there to grow your business. Good luck comes to say that, please, how can we get access to some of the grants available for SMEs? And then we'll speak about a few of those things later. Doc will come back to those ones. Jerome Assem comes back to say that, please, to what extent is record keeping, cash conversion cycle, and cash budgeting relevant in SME management? So you want to take this one now?
Sorry,
What extent is record keeping, cash conversion cycle, and cash budgeting relevant in SME management?
Okay, I'll try to answer this question without being too technical. In fact,
Sure.
in running businesses, or especially, like I said, SMEs or micro businesses, you know, record keeping is very key. And this has been a big challenge for many of us. I mean, when we started our businesses, so that you don't even know uh, what you bought, how much raw material you bought. You don't know how much you spent on a particular operation. Sometimes, just as I said in the presentation, you don't know how much you are spending as an individual, I mean, on yourself and your family. So record keeping, every aspect of the the business operation should be recorded. I mean, sometimes simple notebook, and then you put all these transactions down. If you can actually afford a bookkeeper, that is very good. If you can take an accountant, all the better. You see? So record keeping, if you want your business, unless of course you want your business to remain micro, if you want your business to grow, you definitely need to really have effective record keeping, and it wouldn't cost you that much. Cash conversion cycle, cash budgeting. Now, Henry, I mean, you are the banker, so that it is my understanding. To what extent do I really turn my money around? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Uh, uh, yeah. So, there's no point in buying raw materials, now producing, then keeping it, and it takes more than necessary time to be able to sell. The faster you turn your money around in terms of selling products as quick as possible, and then buying new raw materials and converting them, the better. Because of that, we have to be careful about our pricing, such that we price competitively. We don't just price ourselves out of the market, because there are so many other players. So when you want, we want 25% markup, but what is the competition saying? What is the market average in terms of pricing, so that you can quickly really sell your product, now buy more, and then as you turn the money around, you make a lot more, what do you call it, profit. Budgeting, you need to do that. Everything, put it down, in ensuring that you plan before you execute, not just carrying out purchases or maybe expenditure anyhow, but then plan. Budgeting is just planning. And as we say, if you fail to plan, it means you plan to fail. So businesses really need to do planning. It can be monthly, it can be quarterly, it can be annually. And these things are really very necessary for SMEs.
Thank you very much, Doc. Asika Wunta Hamid says UB has a has a promising future. Thank you, Kwame Doji. We see you. Scott says thank you for answering. Nana Ajmanbia says good answer. Now, Mustafa, stay on. We'll provide a bit of this information for you. I didn't realize the time is running that fast. It's almost an hour already. But Doc, when we're preparing and talking about this, we're looking at, I mean, there's having true sustainable, very sustainable business. Doc, can you share with us what would be your three takeaways that SMEs in this challenging time should focus on? Three takeaways, what we should look at.
So the key things, as earlier on mentioned, you need to be able to ensure that you look for opportunities in the environment. So be scanning the environment. Don't think about the problems too much. Look at opportunities that are there. That is number one. I always say that, whilst we are struggling and we are crying, every time you have foreign investors coming into this country. So why is it that more and more investors are coming in here and then we are crying? So look for opportunities. And there are so many of that. That's number one. The second thing is leverage on your strength as a company, as a business. What are your strengths? What are the key areas that you can focus on so that once you identify those key strengths, then you would try and be efficient in those areas. And that's what I call, efficiency in our operations. And then probably thirdly, I will then talk about the fact that you need to do effective networking by getting closer to those who actually are also in your industry or those who organize businesses. I mean, these are just three. Of course, there are a lot, but these are just three. Not forgetting using technology to transform your business.
So, Vivian, thank you very much. We look forward to welcome you to our branch. Please go and reactivate your account if it's someone to would be happy to do business with you. Mustafa says that UBA is very strict on SME who import. Once you exceed a 10,000 US dollar limit, no more foreign transfers can be effected via UBA until you submit all the important documents. Who in UBA do we talk to, especially those of us outside Accra branches, to solve this issue by signing indemnity? So, Mustafa, you know the point. There's a limit set by the regulator. These are monitored, and so we need to also ensure that it's part of thriving through sustainable business practices. But please talk to our head of SME, Theodora, or place a call to our call center and discuss your specific issues with them. We're ever ready to help you and guide you to run your business sustainably. We want to help your business grow. I'll share a few things, and as Edward brings Theodora up, UBA in the last few months have signed three key MOUs that seeks to help drive SMEs. The first one was signed with the Pan-African Payment and Settlement Systems, where we are supporting businesses, SMEs, to ensure that you could take advantage of businesses. So beyond the products we already have, like UBA Connect, where like if you went into Cameroon or you go to Cote d'Ivoire, you have an UBA account in Ghana, you can walk to the counter and draw down on your check as though you were in Ghana. So we say one account, 20 countries. It helps you to operate your account in all the 20 countries where we operate. In addition to that, we have the PAP system where if there are other countries where UBA is not present, you could still send money to your business partners in those countries. So come to us, let's help you to drive your business. We also signed a partnership with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Doc, as Reggie mentioned, that we need to take advantage of after and look for new opportunities. We've made available a fund of 60 billion US dollars to support SMEs to expand in this, take advantage of the after initiatives and ensure that they can grow their business. And only last week, there was another partnership that UBA signed with the UNDP in Accra, where we're going to be offering a lot more capacity building programs and workshops for SMEs, helping them to respond to the question that Mustafa asked earlier about areas to get grants and access. We'll be doing a lot more of those things. So watch out this place, watch our social media channels. We're bringing you a lot more on those areas. And our interest is to help to grow your business. And like I said at the beginning, at UBA, we say your small business is big business. And so we take good care of you. Now, Vivian comes back to say that I think you have answered my question about how to take records, and the trust issue too is another challenging one. So, Vivian, I mean, the conversation is not going to end here. We have a hard stop at 11:30. We'll try to keep to our time so that you can go back and continue our business. But we'll keep the conversations going. Drop us a message on our social media pages. Bring your questions to us. We would respond to them. If you are close by any of our branches, walk in. You can contact our 24/7 Customer Fulfillment Center on toll free 0800 833 833. You could also call 0302 634060. And if you have a long question, you can email us at cfcghana@ubagroup.com. cfcghana@ubagroup.com. Let's keep the conversations going. I'd like to say a very big thank you to Dr. James Asare Eje, the CEO of As Aztec
It's
Group
difficult to pronounce
Limited.
the name, eh?
Thank you very much, Doc, for joining us this morning. It's been a wonderful experience, and I'm sure that we haven't been able to exhaust all the conversations. We'll come back to you again and hope that we can
Definitely.
steal another 1 hour of your time, and hope to
Yeah.
grow more businesses to become big companies like yourselves and nurture them as we grow. We'd like to thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you also.
To our audience, we're going to stop here, like I said, but let's keep the conversations going. Send your questions on our social media pages. We'll respond to them. We'll share them with Dr. Jason Saraj. We'll take feedback and share with you on those issues. SMEs, we'll go to any of our 13 network branches across the country, and our staff are ready and willing to assist you. We've got the SME working capital loan for you, where you need very little, documentation and securities to ensure that we can give you a loan to help you improve your business. Talk to us today. We are your financial advisor and we'll help you to grow your business. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and we hope that you have a good business day. God bless you for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you. Right. Right.